guys, Billy Presnell here at Dream Guitars with another lesson for y'all today, playing this incredible guitar by Keisuke Fuji. It's pretty mind-blowing. You should check it out when you get a chance. Today I'm going to focus on melody and rhythm, predominantly in Dadgad tuning. A big part of my method with the guitar is I want to take Dadgad tuning and kind of normalize it or standardize it. And when I switch from Dadgad tuning to a standard tuning, it's somewhat more mystified. It's quite laughable how often in the showroom I'll pick up a guitar that's in drop D or standard after I've been playing in Dadgad or some other alter tuning all day, and I'm like, what tuning is this? This is crazy. And it's standard. And I play the most unorthodox things in that way because I'm searching for the answer and I don't know what it is, which I love that about switching between tunings and being influenced and inspired by the tunings is really helpful. But with Dadgad, as you know, we have D-A-D, G-A-D, and the way that I utilize Dadgad is I essentially split it in half. For me, Dadgad is bass or a rhythm section and a melody section. So I have D-A-D, those are all my bass lines, my groove. My actual progressions are conceptualized with those three strings. Because it's just D-A-D, it's just a fifth. D to A is a fifth. So I typically play in D a lot. Sometimes it isn't the case, but a lot of times it's in D. And I use those notes to help establish my rhythm, my groove. There's a song I play in a lot of demos here called 91. A good friend of mine asked me to show that, and I'll give a glimpse of how I wrote that and how it works in Dadgad for me, how the rhythm and melody of Dadgad work for me. So before I even get into that, though, I think it's important to acknowledge a lot of what I'm doing is improvised. It isn't set in stone. I have an idea, like a skeletal idea, and I kind of let it do its own thing. I kind of explore it in that moment. So it's not a perfectly arranged piece. It's just a melodic idea and a rhythmic idea too. So if I'm playing... You can see the first thing that happens is I start moving my head or other parts of my body. I think it's really important for guitar players to either tap their foot or nod their head, move something that can become maybe not metronomic, but can give you the groove outside of the guitar. It kind of shows that you're in the music, not the guitar. A lot of my favorite guitar recordings, you hear somebody tapping their foot like this in the background. I love that, especially at live performances. So if I have this groove, and I'll just play the bass strings, and you can see I'm just playing D open, F sharp, G. Now I'm using my index and middle finger right now to come up with that groove. But what I will do is I'll use my ring finger and pinky finger to cover that groove, have dexterity with this other part of my hand to play a melody. So I have open strings already. It's writing itself. And see, I have the main melody there, the main idea playing, but I'm also using a lot of the open strings to constantly fill the sound, to give it depth. and to really give a background for the main idea of the melody. The melody is your main idea. It's the thing that people can connect to, whistle, hum, or just remember. And for me, whenever I want to write a melody, I actually don't try very hard to write a melody. Either it comes to me out of the act of playing the guitar, as Pierre Benzouzin would say, playing from the heart, which is great, but it's maybe not the most disciplined method of writing a melody. But I will use a sentence or a word that I may be feeling or like to help inform the melody. So I just said to help inform the melody. So to help inform, right? You see how I'm using that rhythm of that phrase. It could be any mundane sentence. It could be a very profound sentence. It could just be one word. I used to use the example of bioluminescence that's my favorite word, not only because of what it means, like lightning bugs and stuff, but the rhythm of it, bioluminescence. I love that. And I find these rhythms and phrasing techniques in our language to make this melody. So in this song, I'm telling a story. I'm not going to tell you what the story is, but I'm using words that I'm feeling when I'm thinking about the thing I'm thinking about, when I'm composing the song, to allow the melody to come out. So you can hear, just pretend the bass isn't there. And see that is another way of expressing a word that's quick. Right? It's all very vocal, it's all very linguistic. I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, I'm going to play D, F sharp, E, G. I'm not thinking about any modal things. I'm not thinking about any theory things as I'm writing the melody or even performing it. I will think about that afterwards if I want to critique it or tighten it up or change certain things. But a lot of it is very much in the moment, expressive, having an idea, something on my mind that I want to express through the song. And I'm very clearly separating these three strings and these three strings the whole time. When they come together, it seems like they're coming together if I were to play. But in my mind, I'm still feeling a separation between what I feel is the bass and the treble. Much like the left hand of a piano and the right hand of a piano. That's how I feel about these three and these three. Now, these two can definitely live in those worlds together. The D and the G, whether in Dadgad or not, can live in those worlds together. So there's some gray area, which there has to be gray area. I love gray area, but especially with this. So when I'm writing and playing and I'm wanting to make a very specific idea happen, I do think about this being separated, but together. I guess I should say interdependent. Not independent of one another or dependent upon one another, but kind of locked in together simultaneously. So I'll just play a melodic idea, kind of using the same structure that I was just playing to kind of show you what I mean. So in that, there's a very clear role for my thumb, these three strings, and my index finger and my middle finger playing that melody. And if you notice, I played maybe 5 notes in the melody, which is actually kind of a lot. No, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, just 5. And what I did to kind of express the sentence that I was thinking, which was actually, I don't know what to say. It was what I was thinking in my head. right? So I would use that bend to give it character, to kind of give it a feeling, a depth that it wouldn't have if I just went. Which that's fine, but that doesn't have the same feel. It's a really subtle bend, right? So much is happening between two notes right there. I mean, I guess you could technically say it's three, but yeah, that is giving it a more natural human linguistic feel. So when I play songs in Dadgad or write songs in Dadgad, I'm using rhythm and melody simultaneously, and I'm using the rhythm of our language to help me write. And it's really simple when you break it down that way. Don't worry about the right or wrong note. If you're playing solo, that's totally up to you. You can explore, take risks, but you could also study and understand where notes are. And that is kind of a cyclical thing there. So if I play... right? Right? So I'm clearly defining the bass and the melody simultaneously. They're influencing each other. They're not dependent upon one another, but they are interdependent. So when you're playing in Dadgad, just keep that in mind. These three and these three, and just keep it simple. And, maybe have fun while you're doing it too. Well, that's all I've got today for explorations in Dadgad on this awesome Kisuke Fuji guitar that you can get here at Dream Guitars. I mean, just look at that. It's amazing. Thanks.